Call of Duty Zombies. It's inspirational. Some of us even learn history from it. I, for one, learned about JFK from the map 5.
Yeah.
So, and I slept through history class.
Very historically accurate.
Explains quite a bit about me as a person. But hey, Call of Duty is fantastic as far as the zombies go. It's been varying in quality, though, for years. We're really only looking at the Treyarch games here, which is the core zombies experience. And we're looking at our 5 worst, in our opinion, zombies maps of all time. Now, I think we should clarify that because, occasionally you have some member of an obscure Call of Duty clan who thinks that he's the next FaZe Banks coming in here, getting super triggered because we said that we don't like a map. It's okay, buddy. You'll be fine. FaZe Banks is not going to sleep with you because you get angry at us.
Well, they might.
I don't think he will. He's
okay.
He's pretty well off.
Okay.
He's a cool guy.
Okay.
I don't know. Nate, do you have anything to add to that?
I think just adding on to you, it's like, this is our opinion. Everyone has their own opinions. This is ours. So
That's
calm
it.
down.
Yeah, there were some people really mad about our favorite zombies.
Yeah, they
maps.
were
I don't
really
know
mad.
why. I think it was because we didn't just pick the top 5 cookie cutter answers like anyone else would. But I guess there's other people who will do that. So fair enough. Let's hop right into the 5 favorite or least favorites.
Number 5.
The first one is Blood of the Dead from Black Ops 4. Now this map is something.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's annoying.
Yeah,
Very
it's not the
annoying.
worst. You kind of wanted to start out with this one, I think, because you had a lot to say.
Yeah, so it's not the worst, like you said, but it is very annoying in the sense that most of the map is basically just you in a prison, which is kind of a cool idea. I will say that. It is a cool idea, but the close quarters of the prison and just the way it's built, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
You get lost all the time, and there's basically nowhere to run because you're in a prison. You can't run anywhere. So not only are you getting lost all the time, but it's also hard just to move around. If you make one wrong turn, you're screwed instantly.
And also, I do want to mention, too, this is a remake of Mob of the Dead, which everyone loves,
Yeah.
A lot of people, and by the way, I agree with this question. A lot of people were like, why did Mob of the Dead not make our top 5 or an honorary mention? To be honest, it's because it's one of the maps we played the least.
Right.
It's not because it's, bad or anything. It's just because
We didn't have as much experiences on it.
as much of an opinion, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though we've really played pretty much all the zombies maps, there's a few that we've only played once or twice and just not done really anything on. So as far as Mob of the Dead, though, there were a ton of fan favorite things on it and different, I don't know how to explain it, different characters that were interesting, unique characters to the map. There was a lot of unique mechanics with it and with the Easter egg type stuff. In terms of the remake or the reimagining of it / sequel to it with the Primus crew, by the way, I love the Primus crew. They're awesome.
Yeah, the Primus crew's amazing.
They're not the problem here, but the problem is that it's just an annoying map, and also they got rid of a lot of those things, in terms of all those unique features, they were mostly stripped out, which kind of made it why did you redo this?
Right.
Why?
It kind of takes away from the aesthetic of the original.
Yeah, and the appeal of it. I
Yeah.
mean, why would you actually remake something if you're just going to take everything out of it,
Right.
Which is something we see a lot in movies, but in video games it doesn't work at all.
No.
I also think that it's worth mentioning too that running around here there are some cool things to look at. For example, the transit crew
Yeah.
is down in the basement. They're
in
in
the starting
cryostasis.
location.
And there's some interesting stuff like that. I
Oh,
like
and there's
the warden.
there's that teleporter thing too,
Yeah, the teleporter's cool.
which is cool. But
Yeah, I mean that's
it.
that's the funny thing is a lot of the positives you can say about this are just subjective. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
And that's really it. I think the warden is a fun encounter.
Yeah.
He can be really obnoxious, but he's a fun little mini boss encounter.
Yeah, and you can go into his house and everything.
Yeah, and when you get to the roof with the whole, the rough and the roof and the roof, just to appease everyone who gets mad at how I say roof. When you get up there, when you're using those zombie soul-sucking guns,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, that's a
there's
neat feature.
neat stuff in this map. It's just overall tedious and kind of obnoxious.
Right.
I think that they tried to make it really hard compared to Mob of the Dead too, on purpose. Like I think they tried to ramp up the difficulty, like, oh, let's make Mob of the Dead, but let's make it harder. And I don't think that worked. People love Mob of the Dead for what it was. They didn't want it to be changed a ton.
Right. Yeah, making it harder is not good.
No, it doesn't make anything good or bad.
Right.
You know, like some of, I don't know, like it's just a bad choice, I guess, all around. There's a lot we could say about it that gets frustrating, but I think we should just move on to the next one. Number 4! Which is Zatsubo No Shima. This is possibly, I think this is my least favorite Black Ops 3 map.
Yeah.
Like of all time.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the worst.
It's so boring. I mean, this boring swamp, it seems like just Shino Numa, but it's
boring.
More boring, yeah.
Yeah.
And without any kind of historical anything in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like how you had the Aztec type, how would you say it? Like that. Well, no, so Shino Numa was just the swamp. And
Right.
Shangri-La is kind of a swampy forest with an Aztec type building. It almost seems like they were inspired by those, but they removed the interesting features of them.
Right.
I don't even find the mini boss type stuff interesting with the spider.
I actually was going to mention how I like that.
Oh, you do like that? I didn't care about
I'm like
it.
the biggest hater of spiders ever, and
Yeah, you're
I
an
found it
arachnophobe.
cool. I found it cool.
Okay.
I found it a cool feature that you can do.
So what did you like about this map, though, other than that? Like, are there any mechanics or, like, guns or anything?
Not really.
No,
to be honest,
me neither.
The spider is the best part, and that's not even really that cool. It's just kind of something interesting that's added in.
I do
that
like
you're kind
looking
of like, oh, that's neat.
The derelict bunker buildings are kind of interesting.
Yeah,
So,
those
like,
are fine.
When you're inside, there's an interesting setting, but outside it's just dreary and dull and kind of boring.
Yeah, and there's also like that mini mechanic of taking those seeds and like planting them
That wasn't fun
and
at all.
stuff to try to do like the Easter egg.
Yeah, that wasn't fun at all.
Wasn't fun.
I don't know, and I also just kind of think the map design is lazy.
Yeah.
And so what I mean by that is when you look at these maps, I know people talk more about lanes in, MOBAs and shooters for multiplayer, but they do exist, in zombies.
Right.
The lanes are just all over the place. I mean, it's just kind of random. Like, it's just random paths leading nowhere or, like, just around a little thing. I don't think there's much map direction to this. Yes, you could train or do whatever you want, I'm sure, but I don't think there's much creativity in the layout of the map. A lot of those best maps in the series, even thinking about some we didn't mention, like Ascension, right?
Yeah.
They have a really iconic map design where you can get around, and it is a little confusing in some spots, but it's laid out in a way that makes sense. You can think, oh, someone built this facility and lived here.
Right.
I can't really see that at all in any kind of livability or realism at all in this map. It just seems like it was thrown together on like a weekend.
Right. Yeah, it just seems like they're like, oh, what's a good idea? Forest. Okay, put a building there. And that was it.
Yeah. I mean, there's very little, there's very little direction, very little intrigue added to this. And also, this doesn't really advance the COD story at all of zombies much
No,
in any way.
It advances like Tack's story a little bit. But other than that, it doesn't really do anything.
No. So you can't even defend it from that angle.
No, it really seems like they're like, well, we need to make a map around Tack.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
but we barely mention him.
Let's just throw something together. There we go.
They barely
Cool.
mention him in the map anyway, so what was the point?
Yeah, the only mentioning of him is basically just at the end.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll move on to our next one here, which is actually number 3. Tag der Toten. I know someone's angry I said it wrong. Look, here's the thing. I like Call of Duty. I really like Call of Duty players one-on-one, but there's like a handful of people on the internet who get like really upset when you mispronounce stuff or have a differing opinion. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little tired of them.
I think we could all tell, yeah.
I think they should maybe go outside or like, try Halo or something new and just calm down.
I think
it's going to be
speak
okay.
to about 90% of the internet there.
It's
like,
it's
go
gonna,
outside, man.
It's going to be okay. Like, you don't need to get angry about it. But with Tag der Toten, I don't know, man. Again, this map is just kind of uninteresting. It was supposed to be a remake, which didn't really work out at all, in my opinion. I don't really understand why this is even here. Like, why was this made? What was the point?
I don't know. I think they just wanted to get the transit crew back.
Right.
But they picked like one of the worst maps designs ever to do it on. I mean, like my main problem with Tag der Toten is that it's boring.
Right.
There's nothing to do. There's nothing interesting. And I was so disappointed because I remember when Black Ops 4 came out, and I actually like the zombies. I think it's easily the worst set of zombies we've ever had, but I like them, at least in terms of the Treyarch zombies. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was kind of excited because I read that there's the transit crew coming back for this last map. This was the last one, the finale, in like that DLC that they made and all that stuff. And I was really excited for this because I was like, oh, this is the last one, transit crew, this is gonna be fun. And then I played it, I was like, this is really boring.
Yeah, and I know people go back and forth on Call of the Dead. I don't think people talk about it a lot. It's not like Mob, or anything.
Right.
Where it's like up there, like, oh my gosh. But it was an interesting map with an interesting crew of unique characters and stuff like that. But when it comes to this now, dropping the transit crew into there, that didn't make it more interesting. I don't think the gameplay is anything to be excited about. Zombies just kind of dropping into the water and slowly sauntering to you. What's the only cool part of it? The lighthouse, and it's obnoxious.
Yeah, you can also go on that destroyed boat.
The half a boat.
Yeah, but if I was going to go on a boat for zombies, I'd just play Voyage.
Right.
Which I think is a much better map than this.
Is a much better map. I think it also has its problems, but it didn't make this list because we both do still like Voyage.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain with some of these because I don't want to just fall down on the sword of it just wasn't fun.
Right.
Because I don't think that's a good way to make a top 5 of any kind if you can't explain it. But this map wasn't fun.
No,
it
was not.
It didn't really advance the story at all. It seemed like the transit crew, I think they're called Victus, I think they were just dropped back in for no reason and really never used again for the most part after this. So that the story design makes no sense of why they went this direction. The map design again is just kind of thrown together. It's a lazier version of Call of the Dead. Everything about this just screams, hey, let's do the same thing with better graphics but lazy and remove the uniqueness and personality.
Yeah.
Hey, are you happy? You like old zombies, right? Well, here's a shitty version of it.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, and what's sad is they had a interesting storyline with like the new characters like Diego, Scarlet, all them. But then they kind of dropped that storyline too.
Yeah.
Because the last 2 DLCs maps were, well, the last 3 actually were this one, Alpha, Omega, and, well, actually I was going to say Blood of the Dead, but that wasn't a DLC. Actually, that was a DLC map. That was the very first one. But they had like the Ancient Evil, and then they just like stopped with that storyline.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, but then the map was not good. It was not a good finale. So it's like, not only do you just drop that old storyline, yes, you brought back the transit crew, but we don't care.
No, and there was
the
no
transit
point
crew
to it.
did not save the map.
No, absolutely not.
Number 3.
So the next one we have is Dead of the Night. I wanted to like this map. I really did. And you know what? I like the mansion.
Yeah, the mansion's really cool.
The mansion is really cool. There's some cool stuff like the gun that you can get in there, which I forget the name of. I'm sorry.
Wow, you're not a real COD fan?
Man, I'm just over the elitism with when we talk about COD. I just want to have fun with this.
No, it's not
I'm
fun.
like over that.
COD Zombies is serious.
I love COD, but it's okay, man. It's all right, This map, though, again, frustrating. The only good part of the map is in the mansion, which is already so tight and confined compared to even some other maps. What is with them doing this on Black Ops 4, by the way? This is the same complaint I have with Voyage. Like, I like Voyage. At least you can get outside.
Right.
In this, there's barely an outside, and even where there is, you just get sandwiched and just screwed into oblivion by zombies. Like, it doesn't matter what you do.
Right. Well, the other problem with the outside is they don't connect. Basically, the map is like built of the mansion, and then on I don't know how it's designed, but it seems like in all 4 corners there's an outside you can actually go on, but then those corners don't connect. So the only way to get around is basically to go outside, run back in through basically the same entrance you used, and then go through the mansion to get to another part.
Yeah.
So it's like there's
good.
not a point of going outside.
No, not really.
If you're just trapped in there.
Yeah, I also do want to mention too, out of the characters, what are 1 or 2 of them kind of interesting? I mean, there's like the general or whatever, or captain, I forget his name.
He was cool.
And the girl was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name, but
There was also that butler guy.
Yeah, he was kind of lame.
Yeah.
I mean, the characters were just kind of lame in general. Even the ones that were like, oh, they're fine, they weren't great. This added nothing at all to the story of zombies.
No.
Really, in any way. I know it did. Like, there's like a morsel it adds to the story, but not enough to justify its existence. This kind of just seems like a random map, like they made out of nowhere again.
Right.
For no reason. Which doesn't even play well or have a good design or anything.
Yeah, I mean, the map itself, like you said, is cool of the mansion. Like, the mansion's neat, but the way it's built just makes it kind of hard.
Yeah.
And kind of like what we said earlier, hard doesn't mean good.
No.
Something can be hard, but if it's not really built...
Like me.
Yeah. If it's not really built well, it's not good. Right.
That actually moves us into our next map, which is honorable mentions. There's a few honorable mentions here. We just have 2 this time. But we're both on board with each other's honorable mentions on this one. It's not like I picked one, you picked one. These are both. We don't like these. Shadows of Evil from Black Ops 3. Now, before you get up your pitchforks, there's a lot of things that I actually really like about this map. I love the design of it, the Cthulhu, H.P. Lovecraft style design of the town, of the characters, like that sort of 50s, 60s vibe. The music is fantastic. I like the gunplay. I even like how the Margwas look, believe it or not, and I like the idea of the rituals. But guess what? In theory, right, or on paper or whatever, it's all cool. Watching it, it's all cool. Playing it, annoying as hell. Like, those rituals are obnoxious. What they really boil down to is you go to different parts of the map, push a button with, like, you put, like, a little thing in there, and then you run around in circles while these stupid, like, witches chase you and don't kill you. And you have to make sure that almost all the zombies are dead by that point, or you just get sandwiched and killed, which is unfair as well. Because you're dealing with them while being chased in a circle by these dumb hags. And then you grab the thing, and then you move on and you repeat it later. That's it.
Yeah.
That's like the whole map.
Yeah, it's the same problem with Revelations, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
And the other problem with those rituals, like you said, is you kind of have to do these early on, or else there's going to be like a million zombies after you, and you just get screwed.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're not fast enough and do these rituals by like round 5 or something dumb like that, you're just done.
Yep.
Because they make them so hard.
When the Margwas show up. Once the Margwas start showing up.
It's over.
And one always shows up when you complete a ritual anyway, doesn't it?
Yep.
Whenever you complete a ritual.
I think so, yeah.
Spawns. That's not to mention, too, that some of the stuff like the Easter egg on this map is also just annoying as hell.
Right.
Like, I don't... There is another really cool mechanic, which is when you can basically turn into like a Margwa type spirit thing. I don't know what it's called. And you can, hit zombies or electrocute stuff to like open gates, or you could grapple up. Those things are cool. Like these were interesting new mechanics. And this is still a map that we play sometimes for fun. That's why it's not on the proper 5 worst. But it certainly is weak, especially compared to the rest of what Black Ops 3 had to offer. And especially when they introduced like the Zombies Chronicles.
Right.
It's like it just shows how bad a couple of these maps are compared to those, which is not a good thing. They should be better by now. Like you shouldn't be able to look back and say Black Ops 1 and World at War had the best maps.
Right.
Like, shouldn't they have learned something?
They should have improved.
Yeah, they all should have gotten better. With just a few flops here and there, but instead it's mostly a decline.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about Shadows of Evil, like just a quick thing, is the starting pistol.
Yeah.
I love that pistol.
And that's my favorite thing about Origins, which, despite both of us not having much fun on Origins, we didn't put on here because we know everyone loves it and we didn't want to be actually murdered.
Right.
So we left Origins off of here because everyone loves Origins. I have some fun on Origins. You hate it.
Yeah, the best part is the staffs, which is my favorite thing about zombies of all time, but I don't like the map.
I like the packed pistol you start with on Origins.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But anyways, that's not even on this list. So, before someone gets mad, it's not on the list. It's okay.
Calm down.
Let's hang out. Let's talk about
Calm
it.
down,
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
So the actual second honorable mention we have before we get to the worst zombies map, in our opinion, is Revelations. This map is just boring. Here's the problem with it. It is a mix-up, mash-up greatest hits of a lot of classic zombies maps. Some of the worst parts of them, with none of the personality. It's like, let's throw in part of Noct. Okay,
right.
But you don't get to do much there because it's only like a third of the map, right?
Right.
You know, it's just stuff like that. I mean, they just throw in bits and pieces of maps and they say, isn't this good? And the background's pretty, but just sort of like all the connecting paths and everything, again, it's just so randomly thrown together and chaotic. I don't think it's very fun. I know that this is meant to wrap up the story, and I'm not saying it does a bad job really of that, but it seemed anticlimactic to me.
Right.
And also odd because this isn't this map's fault, but now they've sort of started a new timeline and they are almost like, oh, well, that timeline was erased, but it still happened, but now it's the new timeline. And so this map even too, like in retrospect, what it was hyped up to be for the zombie story, it's not really that. All it was the beginning of getting rid of everything interesting, you know, like the Primus crew and the Victus crew and all these guys. It's like, well, now we're focusing on idiots no one cares about that are basically multiplayer operatives.
Right.
And I know that's not this map's fault, but I'm just saying this map,
It was the start.
as mediocre as it is, which it is, also ushered in a lot of garbage for this franchise, which annoys me as well, and it's part of why I don't like it.
Yeah. I think my least favorite part about this map is actually how much stuff from previous maps is in it, like you said. Now, you'd think that's a cool idea. And the first time I played this, I was like in love with Revelations. But then the more I played it, after I got over like that initial excitement of, oh cool, it's Origins, oh cool, I'm playing on Kino. After I got over that initial excitement, I kind of realized that this map actually sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it's not very interesting, and the main appeal of it is just, oh, old maps, and that's it.
Yeah.
And like we said with Shadows, there's also like those dumb rituals that you have to do to charge those pillars or whatever they're called, which kind of has the same problem that Shadows had, where you basically have to do it at the end of a round, and then you have to press this button, and then like those dumb witches and like those weird like crawling ghouls, whatever they're called, and I'm gonna get like destroyed online, but those things.
The Nova Crawlers?
Yeah, those things. No, not the Nova Crawlers.
I'm sorry.
The like monster things.
Now
that
I'll
come
get
after
destroyed
you.
online. It's okay.
Basically, you have to like defend yourself in these things, and it just boils down to you running in a corner and sitting there for like a whole round.
Yep.
And then you have to do that like 3 more times. And it's just kind of confusing, and yeah, I don't think either of us really like it.
No, we don't at all. I mean, it didn't make the 5 worst because I don't think that we have enough to justify it being on the 5 worst other than it's not fun.
Right.
And just boring. But it certainly feels those ways to us.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
We are on the absolute worst Call of Duty Zombies map of all time. This one, I'm just going to say objectively. I don't even understand how people like this one.
Number one.
Nuketown Zombies from Black Ops 2 is horrible. It's
Yes.
so stupid. It's literally just Nuketown reskin, but worse with more areas blocked off, less going on. The only cool thing that happens in this is basically a transmission from Richtofen.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else.
Yep.
There's no real unique guns here.
There is the cool nuclear mushroom cloud that you can see off in the distance.
Yeah. A background, a skybox.
Yeah, but that's
Cool.
it.
I think that this really is just a very claustrophobic, tight map, but without any of the scares or interesting elements that usually would go along with that if it was done well.
Yeah.
You know? Like, there's nothing here that actually adds any personality to the map, nothing that makes it very unique at all. It just is so boring and bad, and I don't know how else to describe it than that. Like, it's just horrible.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out, though, in Black Ops 4, they did a remake of this with Alpha Omega, which I think actually was better because it added more to the map.
Yeah, there's a whole nother layer down,
Yeah,
and there was more areas outside. I mean, it was probably 5 times as big or more.
Right, and I think that one's fun, but this
Yeah.
one was so bad because it was so boring. Like, it's
Yeah.
literally just Nuketown.
Well, and this was hyped, by the way, because
Right.
this was hyped as a pre-order bonus.
Right.
Remember that?
I do remember
And
that.
it was like, oh my gosh, you getting the hardened edition? And it's like, yeah, I'm hard. And it's like, no, are you getting the hardened edition? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I thought
I'm
you meant
also
from
hard.
talking to
I'm
you.
also hard.
Yes, I am, and I am getting that too. You know, and it would be like, oh, well, you're going to get, you know, the Nuketown 2025 map right away.
Right.
You're going to get Nuketown Zombies. Like, Nuketown was pushed as a Black Ops 2 thing in, like, every area. Multiplayer zombies, you know. And it sucked. I mean, 2025 as a multiplayer map is good, but that's not what we're talking about. This is just a horrible version of Nuketown at night.
Yeah.
With zombies.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem I have with it is just how small the map is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everyone knows Nuketown. It's not a big map.
No.
It works for multiplayer because it's really fun, it's fast-paced, but with zombies, it just becomes boring and really quick because it's hard to survive. Now, I know people will point out, like, oh, well, you're just not good. Probably not, but it's not fun. It's very, very hard because, and I am also, but it's very hard because there's nowhere to go. It's just, you go to the one building, then you can go into this tiny little courtyard, and then you can go to the other building. That's the whole map.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, there's really nothing to it. It's Nuketown, but somehow boring. And they threw zombies in it. You would think that, like, one of the best maps in COD history, plus the best mode, I would say, in COD history, like, zombies is up there, I think, maybe even better than just multiplayer. You know? Like, it's just, like, top-tier COD content. You'd think those things mixed would make something amazing.
Right.
It certainly didn't.
It did not.
It just made a mess. So anyways, these are our 5+ honorary or dishonorable mentions, perhaps. Worst Call of Duty Zombies maps from Treyarch. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Why are we wrong? Why are we idiots? Why are we not true fans of COD? Why is some other guy's list way better? Always interested to hear those things down below. And for the 99% of you that are actually decent human beings that aren't angry all the time, thanks for being here. We appreciate you very much. Interested in your opinion, actually. You know, what are your least favorites? What are your favorites? We always want to know that. We are also going to be making a list in the future of the 5 most iconic Zombies maps, which are not necessarily best or worse. They're just the maps we think that everyone thinks of when they think of zombies and what makes them, you know, special and iconic. So that will be coming up in the near future. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this. Subscribe for more content. We appreciate you very much. And be sure to check out the secondary Let's Play channel, Degenerate Plays, where we play through a wide variety of games, have fun, podcast style with discussions, and with you. We'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. And as always, stay shwag.